Okay, let's dive in. It's another week, which, means another flood of updates from AWS.
It never stops, does it?
Nope. So for this deep dive, we're going to cut through all that noise.
Yeah.
We'll distill the really impactful, the technically relevant announcements from July 21st to the 28th.
Yep.
Our mission really is to give you a shortcut, help you stay informed on the critical developments without digging through everything yourself.
Exactly. We've gone through, 47 announcements to pull out the ones that really matter for you,
Right.
especially around core infrastructure, data management, and operational stuff.
Yeah, the pace is just relentless. Understanding the implications is key.
Absolutely.
So let's kick things off with the heart of it all. Compute power. That's one area that just keeps evolving, right? New silicon, smarter instance management. What's the big picture this week on new instance types and performance?
Well, the big trend is definitely a push on both Graviton, AWS's own chip, and Intel-based instances. Each one's got its own advantages, different use cases.
Right.
But what's really interesting is how Graviton keeps expanding its reach. It's becoming a really compelling option for more and more workloads.
Okay, so tell us about Graviton 4. That's the latest one.
Yeah, Graviton 4. So the EC2 M8G and R8G instances, they're now available in Asia Pacific, Hong Kong specifically, and they're delivering a pretty big performance jump up to 30% better than the Graviton 3 instances.
MHE general purpose, RAG memory.
You got it. MAG for general stuff, R8G for memory-heavy tasks. But the really strategic part, I think, is how AWS is pushing these benefits into managed services.
Ah, like RDS.
Exactly. Amazon RDS and Aurora for PostgreSQL, MySQL, MariaDB. They're also getting these Graviton 4 M8G and R8G instances in new regions. We're talking potentially up to 40% better performance for databases and up to 29% better price performance. So, you can get more from your current databases or scale new ones cheaper, often without big architecture changes.
So getting Graviton 4 into managed databases, that sounds like a huge deal for a lot of folks. What about those really, really memory-hungry workloads, the specialized stuff?
Yeah, for those, you've got the EC2 XHG instances, also Graviton 4. They just launched in US East Ohio.
Okay.
And these are serious memory machines, up to 3 terabytes of total memory.
3 terabytes.
Yeah. And they're claiming up to 60% better performance than the previous generation, the X2GD. They're really aimed at things like electronic design automation, EDA, or big in-memory databases, real-time analytics.
So basically bringing workloads that might have stayed on-prem into the cloud.
That seems to be the play, offering not just power, but highly tailored instances for these specialized, often traditionally on-prem tasks.
Gotcha. And you mentioned Graviton 3 is still seeing updates too. I heard something about memory.
You did. The R7G instances, those are Graviton 3. They're expanding for RDS and Aurora in more regions. And the key thing here is they're the first AWS database instances with DDR5 memory.
DDR5. Okay, what does that mean practically?
It means about 50% more memory bandwidth, which translates to up to 30% better performance for open source databases, and maybe even more impactful for MySQL and MariaDB on RDS. They now support optimized writes.
Optimized writes.
Yeah, it can basically double your write throughput.
Double, at no extra cost.
At no additional cost. So for write-heavy apps, it's like getting a free performance boost just by moving to these instances. A real game changer there.
Wow, doubling write throughput for free. That's a very practical win for operational databases. Okay, what about compute needing fast local storage or message brokers?
Right. For local storage, there are the EC2 C7 read instances, Graviton 3 again, but with local NVMe SSDs. They're now in Seoul and Paris.
How much storage?
Up to 3.8 terabytes of that fast local storage, and about 45% better real-time NVMe performance compared to the older Graviton 2 versions. Plus, and this is important, they use up to 60% less energy for the same performance.
Better performance and more energy efficient.
Nice. Yeah, saves costs, smaller footprint. And for messaging, Amazon MQ for RabbitMQ now supports Graviton 3 M7G instances. That gives you up to 50% more workload capacity, 85% better throughput than the old M5s.
And you can upgrade existing ones?
Yep, upgrade existing brokers in place. So a pretty smooth path to making your messaging setup much more efficient.
Okay, so Graviton's clearly pushing performance and efficiency hard. But Intel is still vital for a lot of people, right?
Mhm.
Compatibility, specific instructions, any big Intel updates.
Absolutely. The EC2 C7i instances, they use custom 4th-gen Intel Xeon scalable processors, chips exclusive to AWS. They're now in Jakarta.
Yeah, the benefit there.
Up to 15% better price performance over the previous C6i. And they have built-in Intel accelerators, things like DSA, IAA, and AMX.
But AMX, that's for AI, right? Matrix extensions.
Exactly. Advanced matrix extensions. It speeds up matrix math, which is, the core of a lot of ML algorithms. So you can get decent ML inference right on the CPU, potentially without needing a GPU for some tasks.
Interesting. What about network-heavy stuff?
For that, you've got the EC2 C6 instances, now in Calgary. They offer up to 200 GBPs network bandwidth.
200 gig.
Yeah, twice what comparable instances offer. So great for HPC, network appliances, telco stuff like the 5G user plane function, the UPF.
And then the absolute cutting-edge AI training.
Right. For the really heavy AI training, large language model development, the EC2 P6B200 instances are now available, US East, North Virginia. These use the new NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs.
Blackwell, that's the latest, right? Big step up.
Huge step. It's a generational leap. Each instance has 8 Blackwell GPUs, a massive 1,440 gigs of high-bandwidth GPU memory, and up to 3.2 terabits per second of EFA networking.
Whoa.
Yeah. These are built for scaling the biggest AI jobs inside EC2 Ultra clusters. Basically, AWS is providing the raw compute needed for that next wave of AI, right there in the cloud.
Okay, so tons of new power. What about just making things easier to manage? Any practical operational improvements for EC2?
Yeah, a small one, but I know a lot of people wanted it. EC2 now lets you skip the graceful OS shutdown when you stop or terminate an instance.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, it speeds up the whole process. Really useful in high availability clusters where maybe your application handles data durability anyway. You just want the instance gone or stopped fast to trigger failover or recovery quicker.
Oh, okay. Faster state transitions.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And also, EC2 Instance Connect and the Serial Console expanded to 3 new regions, Malaysia, Thailand, and Mexico. Just makes secure SSH access and troubleshooting boot or network issues easier in more places.
Good operational stuff. Okay, let's shift gears. Moving from compute to data. Data management, analytics. Seem like a lot happened there too. That's often where the real work is, right? Getting insights from the data.
Absolutely. And a huge highlight here, I think, is the general availability of the Amazon RDS for PostgreSQL Zero ETL integration with Amazon Redshift.
Zero ETL. I keep hearing that term. What's the big deal?
It's massive for analytics. It means you can run near real-time analytics, even ML, on potentially petabytes of your transactional data from PostgreSQL without building and maintaining complex ETL pipelines.
No pipelines. How does the data get there?
It just replicates, usually within seconds, from RDS PostgreSQL straight into Redshift. So you get fresh data for insights without all that operational ETL hassle.
Okay, that sounds genuinely transformative. And not just for Postgres, right?
Right.
You mentioned Oracle earlier.
Exactly. That same Zero ETL integration is also now available for Amazon RDS for Oracle with Redshift. This really changes the game for enterprises with big Oracle footprints wanting to get operational data into their analytics warehouse easily.
And you can be selective. Choose what replicates.
Yep, you can even replicate specific pluggable databases, PDBs, giving you fine-grained control.
Very cool. What about scaling relational databases themselves, beyond just single instances?
For that, Amazon Aurora PostgreSQL Limitless Database has expanded. It's now in 22 more regions.
Limitless database. Sounds ambitious.
It kind of is. It gives you a serverless endpoint that automatically shards your data and routes queries across multiple Aurora serverless instances behind the scenes.
But it looks like one database to my application.
Exactly. Maintains transactional consistency like a single database, but scales horizontally automatically. Removes the need for you to build complex custom sharding logic. It's a powerful abstraction for developers facing really big scale.
That's a huge simplification. Okay, what about integrating with, say, existing enterprise identity systems, like Active Directory with DB2?
Yep, good point. Amazon RDS for DB2 now supports group-based authorization using your own self-managed Microsoft Active Directory.
So I can use my existing AD groups.
Right. Set up a trust, and then you can use your existing user credentials and AD groups to manage access to RDS for DB2. Makes for a much more secure and consistent experience, especially in hybrid setups.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting to speed. High-performance access caching, streaming, what's new there?
Amazon Elasticache now supports Valkey 8.1.
Valkey, that's the Redis fork, right?
That's the one. And version 8.1 brings native support for Bloom filters.
Bloom filters. Probabilistic data structure. For checking existence.
Exactly. Super memory efficient for is this item in the set kind of checks. Like 98% more memory efficient than just using a standard set type for that purpose.
Wow.
Plus, Valkey 8.1 itself has some improvements. Better throughput with pipelining, less memory overhead, and a new command log feature for better latency visibility. Good for performance tuning.
Useful for caching.
Mm.
What about large-scale streaming, like Kafka?
For that, Amazon MSK Express brokers, that's the serverless Kafka option, now support way more partitions per broker, up to 5x more.
5 times. How did that help?
It improves price performance, potentially by up to 50%, especially if your workload was limited by the number of partitions you could put on a broker. For instance, a big M7G.166 large can now handle 20,000 partitions, up from 4,000.
So you can run more workloads on fewer brokers.
Exactly. Consolidate more, save money, while new limits help maintain cluster stability. Big efficiency gain for Kafka users.
Got it. I also spotted an AWS Glue update, something about connecting to business apps.
Yeah, AWS Glue has a new native connector for Microsoft Dynamics 365.
Okay, so pulling data from Dynamics ERP or CRM.
Right into your AWS Analytics workflows. Just simplifies getting that business data integrated, removes some of the manual ETL work data engineers had to do, bridging those common enterprise silos.
Makes sense. And for industrial data, like IoT, factory floor data.
Uh-huh. The AWS IoT SiteWise Query API got a boost. It now has advanced SQL support and, importantly, an ODBC driver.
ODBC driver means connect standard BI tools.
Precisely. You can do more sophisticated analysis directly in SiteWise string manipulation, better aggregations, sorting, complex date-time stuff, and then connect tools like Tableau or Power BI directly using that ODBC driver. Makes visualizing and reporting on operational data much easier. No custom code needed for basic dashboarding.
Okay, moving on to section 3. Management, security, cost efficiency, always top of mind. Security and governance first, what's new for keeping environments locked down?
IAM Access Analyzer got some significant updates, especially in GovCloud regions, but relevant everywhere. It now includes unused access findings.
Like finding old keys or roles nobody uses.
Exactly. Unused roles, access keys, passwords. It also flags internal access, like who inside your AWS org can get to critical S3 buckets, DynamoDB tables, or RDS instances. And it adds custom policy checks.
Custom checks. So you can define your own rules.
Sort of. You can use it to proactively check policy updates before they're applied to see if they violate your standards, like making a policy more permissive than it should be. Helps catch issues early, guides you towards least privilege. Very useful for maintaining posture.
That sounds really powerful for proactive security.
Yeah.
And compliance. Any updates there?
Yeah, AWS Audit Manager updated 14 standard frameworks, things like SOC2, PCI DSS version 4.0.
What do these updates typically involve?
Usually better evidence collection, making the collected evidence more relevant, expanding the framework coverage. The end goal is to streamline the audit process, make it easier to validate compliance, and potentially cut down the time and cost involved.
Anything that makes audits easier is welcome, I'm sure. Okay, cost optimization. Always a hot topic. How's AWS helping there, especially for big organizations?
The Cost Optimization Hub now supports showing account names alongside the optimization opportunities.
Not just account IDs.
Right, which sounds small, but if you're managing dozens or hundreds of accounts, like large enterprises or AWS partners do, being able to see, filter, and prioritize recommendations by the actual account name makes a huge difference. Much better visibility and easier to act on things.
Yeah, I can see how that helps target efforts.
Yeah.
Okay, storage costs and performance. We talked compute. What about EBS?
Big news there. Amazon EBS IO2 Block Express volumes are now available in pretty much all commercial and GovCloud regions except China.
IO2 Block Express.
Yeah.
Those are the high-performance ones.
The top tier, yeah. Designed for mission-critical stuff. Consistent sub-millisecond latency, 5 nines of durability. A single volume can hit 256,000 IOPS, 4 gigs per second throughput, 64 terabytes capacity.
That's serious performance.
It is. AWS claims it's the lowest P99.9 IO latency among the major cloud providers. But here's the kicker. You can upgrade existing IO1 volumes to IO2 Block Express without downtime.
No downtime upgrade. Nice. What's the benefit?
Potentially 4x the IOPS and 4x the throughput at the same storage price as IO1. And if you need really high IOPS, over 32,000, the cost per IOPS can be up to 50% cheaper than IO1.
Wow. So more performance, potentially lower cost for high-end workloads, and a non-disruptive upgrade path. That's a strong offering.
Definitely makes that high-performance tier more accessible and cost-effective.
Okay, let's talk DevOps. Infrastructure as code, automation. Anything new for container workflows or serverless big data?
Yeah, for containers, Amazon ECR, the Elastic Container Registry, now supports exceptions to tag immutability.
Tag immutability exceptions. Why would you want exceptions? Isn't immutability good?
It is, especially for production tags. You don't want those changing. But maybe for your latest tag in dev or tests, or for tags used by automation, you do want to overwrite them. This lets you enforce immutability generally, but define specific tag filters where overwriting is allowed. It's a practical balance.
Okay, governance with flexibility.
Got it.
What about EMR serverless?
Amazon EMR Serverless added support for inline runtime permissions for job runs.
Inline permissions. What does that mean?
It means you can define specific, fine-grained permissions for a job directly in the job submission request, rather than creating a separate IAM role for every slightly different permission set.
Oh, so for multi-tenant scenarios.
Exactly. Really powerful for multi-tenant use cases. You can scope down permissions per tenant, per job run, enforcing least privilege without exploding the number of IAM roles you have to manage. Reduces operational overhead significantly.
That sounds very useful for SaaS providers using EMR serverless. What about contact centers? Amazon Connect.
2 updates there, both related to CloudFormation. Connect now supports managing message template attachments and quick responses via CloudFormation.
So defining email attachments or standard agent replies as code.
Yep. Lets contact center admins manage these elements programmatically. Ensures consistency across environments, dev, test, prod. Good for automation and reliable deployments of contact flows and campaigns.
Makes sense. And networking. Any updates on connectivity or monitoring there?
Amazon CloudWatch now supports IPv6 addresses.
For everything. Metrics, alarms.
Yeah, for ingesting and querying metrics, managing alarms, dashboards, even observability access manager settings. So you can run CloudWatch monitoring fully on dual-stack networks now. Simplifies things if you're moving towards IPv6 native apps.
Good for future-proofing. What else on the network side?
AWS Client VPN expanded to Malaysia and Thailand. That's the managed VPN service for remote workforce access. Just makes it easier to set up secure remote access in those regions without managing VPN hardware.
Okay.
And finally, AWS Transfer Family is now available in Thailand too. That's the managed service for SFTP, FTPS, AS2 file transfers into S3 or EFS.
Yeah.
Helps companies modernize those B2B file exchange processes.
Got it. Okay, let's move to our last section. Specialized workloads, industry-specific stuff. What stood out here?
Well, beyond the general services, there were definitely some targeted updates. For instance, in healthcare and life sciences.
Right, AWS HealthOmics.
Yeah, 2 neat enhancements there for bioinformatics folks. First, they added integration with third-party Git repos like GitHub or GitLab via AWS Code Connections.
So you can pull workflow definitions directly from Git.
Exactly. Workflow definitions, parameter files, readmes, streamlines managing those complex bioinformatics workflows, version control, reproducibility.
And the second HealthOmics update.
README file support directly within workflows, so you can attach documentation, diagrams, implementation notes right to the workflow definition itself and its versions. Centralizes knowledge, makes things easier to understand and share.
That sounds genuinely useful for collaborative research. What about specialized databases like time series?
Amazon TimeStream for InfluxDB now offers really big instances, 24x large, memory-optimized ones.
How big is 24x large?
And we're talking 96 vCPUs, 768 gigs of memory, 40 GBPs networking, really beefy.
What needs that kind of power in time series?
Think demanding, large-scale industrial telemetry, massive IoT analytics platforms, maybe high-frequency financial trading data. It's providing serious horsepower for those I/O-intensive specialized time series workloads.
Okay, so scaling up for the high end. What about the really specialized quantum computing?
Yep. Amazon Bracket, the quantum service, added access to a new quantum processor. It's called Emerald, from a company called IQM.
Emerald. How many qubits?
54 qubits. It's a superconducting transmon-based QPU. The key things are apparently state-of-the-art gate fidelities and support for dynamic circuits.
So more tools for quantum researchers.
Pretty much. It's about giving researchers access to different types of advanced quantum hardware to experiment with algorithms, pushing the boundaries in areas where classical computers hit limits.
Interesting. And for creative workloads. Rendering, visual effects.
AWS Deadline Cloud got an update. It now supports resource endpoints for connecting things like shared storage, maybe Amazon FSx or Qumulo, and also license servers, directly to the render fleets it manages.
Securely.
Yeah, powered by AWS Private Link. So the render workers can securely access huge input files from shared storage or check out software licenses without needing public endpoints. Makes cloud rendering farms much easier and more secure for studios to set up.
That seems crucial for security in those workflows. Okay, one last one that seemed important, especially for SaaS applications. Something about SQS.
Yes. Amazon SQS introduced fair queues.
Fair queues. What problem does that solve?
It tackles the noisy neighbor problem in multi-tenant queues, where one tenant suddenly floods the queue with messages or has messages that take a long time to process, and it slows things down for everyone else using that same queue.
Right, that can kill quality of service. How do fair queues fix it?
By using the message group ID, SQS fair queues try to ensure that messages from different tenants, different group IDs, keep flowing without excessive delays. Even if one tenant is being particularly busy or slow,
Okay.
it helps maintain a consistent dwell time across tenants.
Without sacrificing the throughput of standard queues.
That's the goal. Keep the scalability and throughput, but add fairness for multi-tenant scenarios. It's a really useful new building block for architects designing those kinds of systems.
Okay, that wraps up the specific updates. That was a lot. A truly comprehensive deep dive into just 1 week of AWS innovation.
It really was. The breadth is always impressive. New silicon, better storage, smarter data integration, security enhancements, specialized services.
Yeah, it covers so much ground.
And the thread through it all, I think, is enabling you to build better apps, more performant, cheaper, more secure, more resilient. Whether it's huge data, complex AI, or just critical enterprise systems, these updates are about removing more of that heavy lifting.
So, thinking about this for you, the listener, as you digest all this, how might these updates change things for you? Maybe improve what you already have, or maybe, just maybe, unlock something completely new.
Right. Could these new instance types dramatically change your cost profile for certain workloads? Could that zero ETL integration simplify your next big analytics project?
Yeah, maybe something that seemed too hard or too expensive before. Maybe it's within reach now.
So the question to ponder is, which one of these updates, or maybe a combination of them, is going to spark your next big aha moment? What new possibilities just opened up for your cloud strategy?